Welcome back, Nail Queens. I am so happy to be back. I feel like I haven't done anything in over a week for my channel. While I have had uploads scheduled, I literally haven't recorded or edited or any of that stuff in over a week. So we went on vacation, and this is the mani that I did for our trip. So I'm going to replicate it here on my left hand for you guys to see. So I have jelly tips on this hand, but I'm going to walk you through everything. I'm using all Revel Nail colors today, so I'll have everything linked below. The base color of this is called Erica, and then the glitter color is called Margo. So thank you, Miranda, for giving me the advice to do this mani. I was actually going to do your traditional baby boomer, but she's like, use Margo at the tips. So this is like a baby boomer, but with glitter. And I'm also using Revel Nail's Ombre brush to do the ombre part with the glitter. So the way that my glitter ombres work are a little different than solid ombres. So what I do is I do one full dip of the color as my base, at least one. So I'm going to do one full dip of Erica on every single nail. So that's what you're seeing here is all 5 fingers are going to have Erica on it before I do the actual glitter ombre, because I want it to have like the foundation color down first. So I'm finishing up my dip in Erica. All 5 fingers have been dipped once in Erica. Don't worry, Erica's going to come back in a few. I'm going to keep her off to the side, but with the lid open so I can use it quickly. And I'm using a stiff dusting brush to dust off all the excess powder. I'm only dusting off 3 fingers at this time because I feel like my pinky and my ring finger are not completely dry yet. I don't want to dust those off until they're completely dry. So I'm opening up Margo now, and I'm getting it like ready and put in position so that I can do my glitter ombre. But gosh, this is such a gorgeous color. It has like very nice pink tones to it, but it just applies beautifully. It's such a beautiful color. If you are looking for something simple but sparkly, I highly recommend doing a mani like this. So in order to do the glitter ombre, since I want it at the tips, my tip is going to be facing upwards. So my finger is being pointed upwards. It is kind of uncomfortable, but it's going to help for all the glitter to free fall, focusing only on the free edge, and then kind of trickle towards the center of the nail. Remember, when you're doing this, you want to rotate your nail from side to side while also pointing it upwards so that you get glitter on these sides as well, and it's just evenly applied everywhere. And if I were to do the ombre at my cuticle, I would actually point my finger downwards and then focus the glitter on the cuticle area. So now I'm actually going to pull out Erica and bringing her back, and I'm using just a tiny teaspoon and I'm pouring over the powder onto the nail. So all of the Erica is going to basically settle in the base bond where the glitter hasn't touched. And I'm going to repeat the same step for every single nail on my fingers. I'm going to apply base bond to the entire nail, sprinkle on the glitter called Margo onto the free edge while my finger is pointing upwards so that the glitter only focuses on the free edge. And then I'm going to pour over the solid Erica over the rest of the nail to cover the empty spots. If you're new to dip powder or you're new to doing ombres on your nail for dip powder, I do have a video here on my channel where I explain 3 different styles of ombre. So you have the tap ombre and the scrub ombre, and then obviously glitter ombres can only be tapped on, in my opinion. So if you are new and you want to watch that video, click here in the cards. I'll have it linked here for you guys to check out. but there's multiple ways to do an ombre. So you have your glitters, you have your solids. Glitters and solids can be applied using the tapping method, which is the method I'm using here. But there's also a method called the scrub ombre where you're literally like scrubbing on the powder onto the nail like you would apply eyeshadow onto your eyelid. It's really cool in my opinion, and it makes really good solid ombres. Now this is the last part where I'll be using Erica, so after this I'm just going to put the lid on the jar and put it to the side because I'm not going to use it again for this manicure. I will be using Margo and Vivian for the rest of the manicure. So I'm actually going to do one more layer of glitter ombre. If you feel like at this point your glitter ombre looks perfect and you don't want to do more layers, you do not have to. I would just clear encapsulate this and call it a day. However, I want to do another layer. I want to give it more bling, so I personally am going in with another layer of Margo at the tips, and instead of doing Erica, I'm actually going to clear encapsulate in the back end. So I feel like it's going to help ensure that it pops more because Erica is technically a solid. It has pigment in it. This clear is going to make sure that it's not like overpowering the glitter, if that makes any sense. So I'm just going to repeat what I just said. So what I'm doing is applying base bond to the entire nail, and then I'm going to sprinkle on Margo using my ombre brush. So just sprinkle, sprinkle. I don't have to apply as much as I did on the first layer. And then I'm going to pull out the clear depth powder and pour over. So I'm using my little spoon here and pouring over clear on top of the rest of the nail. And that's it. That's all you have to do. Now that this layer is done, I have more Margo and more clear on the nails. I'm going to dust everything off. And the reason I'm actually going in with more base bond now is I'm going to clear encapsulate everything, the whole nail in clear. So I know it seems like there's a lot of layers on here. My first layer was a full dip of Erica. My second layer was Margo and Erica ombre. My third layer was Margo and clear ombre, and now my fourth layer is just clear. Mind you, after I activate File, Shape, and Buff, I am going to be basically buffing through about like half of that layer of clear that I put in there to make sure everything looks nice and smooth. So it's like more like 3.5 layers per se. The liquids that I use, so dip liquids that I use for my manicures, are Triple D dip liquids. They're some of the thinnest dip liquids I've ever used, so it really doesn't look like I'm doing 4 layers because they're so thin. And now I gotta dust everything off. So again, if you're new to dip powder, I highly recommend getting a stiff dusting brush. And after you've given your nails ample time for the dip powder to dry, dust everything off really, really well. And then you can go in with your activator. So stiff duster brushes are like the way to go when using dip powder, except for like in the rare instance of like foils and flakes. Those you gotta be gentle with. So I'm going to pull out my activator and activate all of the nails. You're going to see me do 2 passes here because I make sure that the activator penetrates through all of the 4 layers that I've done on my nails. So if you've done extra layers, maybe go in with an extra pass of activator and give it a little longer for the activator to really dry and get to the nail, like all the bottom layers. So I'm just going to let it dry, but you guys don't have to sit here and wait and see the drying process. So here I'm back, and I'm just taking a 100/180 grit file, and I'm filing the sidewalls and my free edge. I like to do the shaping part of the mani before I work on debulking and buffing the surface smooth. So I like to make the tips flat, and the sidewalls I like to taper them where the free edge starts and like separates from my nail bed. So I try not to file all the way back into the very back where my nails start. I do it just on the free edge part. I don't want to overfile my nails because I've done that before in the past. And then I take this little orange buffing block and I focus on the sidewalls, free edge, and cuticle area first because I want to make sure all of that is nice and smooth. And then I'll worry about the center later. But if you notice that the cuticle area is just a little too thick, you can take the finer part of your 180 grit file and just debulk it right there at the cuticle area. Just be very gentle. I like to use worn out older files because newer files, since they're so fresh and gritty, they can actually hurt if you nick your skin on accident. So I've settled on this shape and thickness. I do like the thickness the way it is here, the way that you see it. Sometimes nails can be too thin or they can be too thick, but I'm really happy with how this turned out. So right now I'm just going to cleanse the nail and I'm going to work on getting activator and top coat on my nails because it is time to make this girl glossy. So you can see the glossy side versus the matte side. Gosh, I like them both, but I want to make this mani sparkle, bling, twinkle, all the things at me. So I'm definitely gonna add my dip top coat. So right now I'm applying a layer of activator to all of the nails. I'm following the instructions on the Triple D dip top coat bottle. And after the activator dries, I'm just going to cleanse the nails with rubbing alcohol and apply my top coat. The Triple D instructions for their dip liquids are very, very specific. So if you have those liquids and you're having issues with the top coat brush hardening or something, definitely check out their YouTube channel. They have a video on how to apply the dip top coat so that that doesn't happen to you. So after I apply that first layer of dip top coat, I wait about 5 to 15 seconds for it to just take the shine away. You'll notice it goes from super glossy to kind of like wrinkly and not so shiny. And that's how I know that's the opportune time to go in with my second layer of dip top coat. So I'm just going to apply that to this nail and then follow these same steps that I just did on the rest of the nails. And I'll show you guys the reveal in a couple minutes. So this is the end result. Both of my manis, I can tell on my right hand when I used my non-dominant hand, I went a little more crazy with the glitter. So the left hand that you guys just watched looks a lot better in my opinion for ombre. And I want to show you guys something that happened this past week. My boyfriend popped the question and we are engaged, so I'm really excited to share that news with you guys. So thank you guys so much for hanging out. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!